Hey guys, Blood and Iron Senior Instructor Stephen Keim here. Today I'd like to discuss with you something a little bit more conceptual. The first one being edge alignment. Nobody ever cut a tatami mat in half with a plastic sword or the flat of a sword. So when you're sparring, cutting, fighting, or using a sword in general or any edged weapon, it's really important to know where your edge is at all times. And you don't do this with your eyes, you actually do it with your hands. So I'm holding Nicole's trim here. Now, a couple of characteristics about the sword. The first I want to point your attention to is the pommel. Now when I'm holding a longsword, I have my one hand at the top near the crossguard. My other hand goes on the pommel itself with a piece of my hand touching the flat of the pommel. This is going to give me a tactile sensation of where my edge is just from my left hand alone, especially when I'm throwing a cut. Just by holding the sword in this fashion, I'm going to know where my edge is and know how to keep it on target. Next thing I want to point your guys' attention to is the grip. Notice how it's wider when I hold the sword like this and narrower when I hold the sword like this. This gives my upper hand another tactile sensation that tells me where my edges are. The very last aspect I want to touch on in this video actually has to do with this. When I'm holding a sword, my upper hand typically has the thumb over top of the crossguard in such a fashion that lines up with the true edge of my sword. The benefit of that is I always know where my thumbprint is. I have for years. So if my thumbprint lines up with my true edge, I'm always going to know where my true edge is too. This is Lee's arming sword, also an trim. Very, very nice sword. When using a single-handed sword, all three of these concepts still apply. The thumb, the grip, and the pommel will tell me where my edges are at all times when I'm throwing a cut or when I'm trying to defend. So, let's say you're on a budget. Let's say you can't afford an Angstrom sword. Well, these things are readily available in pretty much any hardware store. They're really inexpensive, and they're common enough that you can find them pretty much anywhere. So grab yourself a machete and throw some cuts with that. Couple things to consider though. The grip is a little different from an arming sword. Does not have a pommel. However, it has two of the three characteristics that you need to gauge edge alignment. The grip is narrower along the flat, and you've got this handy little ridge that you can put your thumb on to get edge alignment on the blade. So, still works as a great entry-level trainer. Thanks for watching this video, guys. I hope it was informative and you got something that you can use when you're training as well. Just like with everything in life, you only get out what you put in. Please like and subscribe.